Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So you watched the first video where Bree and I got started on the just the overall gutting and the flooring of the van. So the second phase of the van build is all the wiring. Yeah, all the electricity. Kind of the scariest part about building a van, especially for someone like me who isn't very good at stuff like that. With that being said, I have wired a few things in the past. I've wired subwoofers, speakers, I did wire an Apple CarPlay into the car. I did wire a light bar on one of my other cars. So I have a basic knowledge of how to wire. But again, I am not a professional at all. Far from professional, so go easy on me. We're gonna start off by wiring the 5 ceiling lights. So I'm gonna put the battery on this corner of the van. I'm gonna put the switch here for the light. I will show you all this stuff too because I do have that today. This is going to be my 12 volt fuse block, and these are going to be my 5 lights. I drew 4, but I meant 5. So basically, I'm going to wire them all in parallel. So from the battery, I'm going to run a positive and negative to the fuse block, positive and negative to the switch, positive and negative to each individual light. Now, I'm going to wire them in parallel in case one goes out. I don't have to replace all of them or all the wires. So basically, running one positive and negative to this one, and along the way I'm going to tap each other light into that wire. Alright. I know it's really dark in here. I cracked the door open for some light, but this was really easy. This is the switch I went with. It's a 12 volt dimmer switch. It doesn't have a physical knob, but you know, it's like touchscreen or whatever. I think it was like $20 on Amazon. I will link it down below. So basically, pretty simple. On the back here has input output. So input negative, input positive, and then you're gonna do output negative, output positive for the lights. And literally, that's it. Now, if I do this correctly, I'll be able to, you know, turn on and off the lights as well as dim them. So the switch is all set. Now let's go ahead and run the wires for all 5 puck lights. Alright, I'm going to show you the puck lights I went with. They're pretty cheap on Amazon. I went with some pretty basic puck lights. I went with 5 of them. They're at 12 volt LED, as you can see. Positive and negative. Then I'm going to light to my switch. Alright. It is pitch black in here. I just wired all of the ceiling lights. I don't have the battery hooked up yet, but I do have a little jump box, a 12 volt jump box. I can see my breath. All I have to do now is click the on switch and come over to the actual physical switch, and then we should have light. Alright, fingers crossed. I am super nervous. Alright, here we go. And she's not working. Alright guys, my camera's about to die. It's dark, but I just want to show you guys that I got it to work. We have light. Show them the switch. Here, I'll show them.
It's a dimmer switch.
It's a dimmer switch. Pretty good. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a fun journey. So in the last video you saw I think most of the demolition. I think we finished the flooring in the last video. If not, I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place with working full time trying to finish this van. Kind of like literally all over the place. Now I was gonna film it. Where I left off last was the electrical, all the solar power. Now I will add that the solar is done. I did finish everything. I didn't really film it for a few reasons. Number one, I'm not a professional. I've wired a few things. I've wired subs, I've wired light bars, I've wired amps. But solar is very new to me. Like the use of the proper fuses and like gauge wires. I have to do so much research, but I don't want to feel like this is a tutorial, and I don't want people to go off of, you know, what I went off of, like for like, you know, like liability reasons. I don't know, God forbid something happened. But this worked for me. Now I will show you what exactly I did, what worked for me. And yeah, just don't take this as a tutorial because I'm not a professional. All right, so here she is. I went with I went with a 200 milliamp AGM battery, which is pretty good. It's a nice size. 50% usable, so 100 milliamps. 50% usable, so 100 amp hour. I think I said milliamps, amp hour. This is, if you couldn't tell, we kind of went with the Renogy kit here. This is our charge controller. So if you don't know what that does, is it takes the solar panels from the top, it converts that raw energy into usable energy. So it branches from here into all our 12 volt stuff. So that's like our lights, anything that's, you know, the simple red and black wires, the 12 volt. And then you get a little more complicated with the inverter. This is a 1,000 watt inverter. This is to run, you know, your household appliances, like the 3-prong outlets, stuff like your charger, your laptop charger, your TV, your monitor, stuff like that. So we went with 1,000. Should be okay. Basically, you shouldn't like load like a million things on at the same time. If you use a TV, a charger, and something like that, you should be straight. Also, those get pretty expensive. Same with this. So this isn't lithium. Lithium is like double the price. So this size in a lithium, I probably would have spent like $1,000. I paid about $350 for this one. Basically, the perks of lithium are lithium weighs less. This battery weighs like 130 pounds. So lithium weighs less. You can use more of it. So like, let's say you buy a 200 amp hour lithium battery, you can use all like 200 amp hours. Whereas this 200 AGM, you can only use 100 of it. So factor that in and keep that in mind if you guys are looking at batteries. These are pretty good. Zero complaints so far, let me tell you. So like I said, this is our fuse block for all the 12 volt stuff. Right now I only have the lights wired up. As you can see, my 5 puck lights. But basically you have the positive, and these are all negatives. Positive, positive, negatives, and then you can put the fuse in the middle. So super easy. I do have everything on safety switches. This one turns off the battery, everything to the battery, from the battery. This one turns off the solar panel because the solar panel actually provides power to the controller. So if I turn everything off but the solar panels are still on, this will still be on. So I just added one there. I have all the appropriate fuses. I have another fuse back here for the inverter. You can't really see it. But yeah, this stuff is all done. In case you're wondering, I have 2 100 watt Renogy solar panels. Now I don't have a lot of experience with it yet because I've only had this installed for like 2 days. It's been sitting in my shady driveway. From what I can tell, they're pretty good. So basically each 100 watt solar panel draws in at most 5 amps per hour. So do the math, that's 10 on a sunny day, perfect conditions. Right now, as you can see, I am getting 0.2 because I am in the shade. One thing I will add, Renogy has this little Bluetooth module here, so I can monitor everything on my phone. I'll actually pull that up now. Alright, I don't know if that's focused, but I can monitor everything here. My solar panel status, normal battery status, percentage, it's at 100% temperature. I did not plug in my my temperature sensor yet, but right here, how much power I'm using. Load is all of my DC power, so my lights right now are using up 1.2 amps per hour. And as you can see, my solar panel are drawing, their solar panels are drawing in 0.1 amp per hour. So I am using from the battery right now, and as you can see, my battery should still be at 100% because the LED lights don't draw much. Yeah, right there, 100%. So I hope that was helpful at all. It's kind of more entertaining, I bet. It wasn't very helpful. I just basically drilled holes through my fiberglass top right there. That's a positive and negative from the solar panels. I'll take a step outside and I'll show you guys exactly what that looks like. And it goes into the controller, the positive and negative. From the controller, it goes into the battery. The battery also connected to the inverter. It's basically one big system. There are a few wiring diagrams you can find on Google. A bunch of them were super helpful. There's a bunch of ways to do this. Like, you don't have to have this switch right here. You don't have to have this fuse right here. You could like assemble this however you want it. I found this to work for me. Now, how I'm gonna like hide this in my van build, I might have to like cut it a little to hide it under my bed. So I probably will switch this up a little, but I'm just glad to have everything up and running. So as you can see, I'm not sure if I filmed it. We put our little wall studs up. These are our wall studs. They follow the curvature of the van. I did not insulate yet. I'm going to be insulating this weekend. I have a friend that works in insulation, so he's going to hook me up this weekend with some wool, because that's apparently it's one of the best types of insulation to use for vans because they don't absorb too much moisture. I know moisture is a big thing with van builds. Here is the light switch is touch. The zip tie is getting in the way. And it dims as well. I think that was like $20 on Amazon. As you can see, the lights are just hanging by zip ties because I'm going to be putting them up on the ceiling whenever I get that done. Hopefully this weekend after I insulate the ceiling too.